All right, looks good.
Hello and welcome to The Bomb Filter, an experimental movie podcast designed with one thing in mind, to determine the worst movie ever made. We take bad movies and put them through a series of tests to decide just that. I'm your host, Chris Ackman. I'm joined by my co-host and fellow mad scientist, Rob Scucci. Hey, Rob, how are you, and why are we doing this?
No formalities today, man. Let's just get into it.
Cool. All right.
So Catwoman, that's all I had to say.
Yeah. That's let's start with some bad reviews to give us a taste for how it was received in 2004, yeah?
Yeah, let's get right into it.
All right, James Berardinelli of Real Views. A catastrophe. This motion picture is an embarrassment to all involved.
Okay.
Short and sweet. All three that I have are short and sweet.
Okay.
Dana Stevens of the New York Times. A howlingly silly, moderately diverting exercise in high, pointless style.
All right.
And then finally, Connie Ogle of, I'm guessing Ogle, maybe Ogle, of the Miami Herald. Silly, tedious, inept disaster.
Okay.
That about sums it up. 3 quick ones, and they're all very negative.
Yeah. No, sounds about right.
Deservingly so.
Yeah.
How about YouTube?
YouTube comments. You know how I say recurring thing is that if you want to find mental illness, just go to the YouTube comments.
Right.
All right. Let's see. Despite whether you hate this film or not, you have to admit Catwoman's entrance scene is pretty badass. I don't get the hate. I don't get the hate for this movie. I liked it. I watched it through without knowing anything about DC Comics, so I can understand how others were frustrated or disappointed with this movie. Let's see. Halle deserves another chance at Catwoman. This movie really shows off what Catwoman is about. Her agility like a cat, her sight, her fighting skills, and how seductive she can be.
Well, she can be seductive. Yeah, she can be seductive. Yeah. She does not deserve another shot. And it doesn't matter whether you're a DC fan. You're mad because you watched this movie, period. If you've never read a comic book, you're still mad.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I wanted to just mention that later on in the pod, we're going to have a guest for the first time ever. I'll give him a nice little introduction, and I'm going to just let him rip this movie apart for basically as long as he wants to in our logical inconsistency section. So let's fly through the test so we can get to that, yeah?
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. Test number 1, the Keystone Apparatus. So this segment is designed to get a proper evaluation of the ecosystem of films that this movie exists in. We average the Rotten Tomatoes critic scores for the movies suggested to us by the streaming service for our subject and compare the film study to that average. It is then determined if the film is a keystone predator or prey. So predator if it's better than the community and prey if it isn't. And let's just get into it. The test number 1, the Keystone Apparatus.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Sorry.
You gotta be kidding me.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, step up to witness my latest creation, the darn tootin', rage-inducing, convoluted, highfalutin Keystone Apparatus. You want to know if you're predator or prey? Then step this way and have your say. Wait, oh no, what's happening? Something is going terribly wrong! The Keystone Apparatus.
I still can't believe that's your voice.
And I'm going on record. That's the last time I'll do One Night in Bangkok because it took me like 3 hours to edit the show last week, so I'm not doing that again.
I said last week that it's worse to have a song stuck in your head when you only know one line of it.
Yeah.
And that was consistent throughout for the whole week. All right. First one is Elektra with Jennifer Garner. Have you seen that?
No.
That'll be like season 12 or something. It's really, really bad. I just don't want to watch it again, but it got an 11%.
All right.
I saw Batman and Robin. It's a lot of like comic book stuff.
Yeah.
But, Batman and Robin, which we already did. So Clooney and Schwarzenegger, as we well know, 12% there.
Okay.
Rough start. Ghost Rider with Cage and Menendez.
Mm-hmm.
Mendes, my fault. 26%. Okay. Fire and Ice, starring, Gimli from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
He's the only guy that I noticed that anyone would recognize from that movie. It got a 24 audience score. There was no critic score.
Okay.
I don't even know how to pronounce this one. Vidocq. It's Vidocq. With Gerard Depardieu.
Okay.
A 65 audience score there as well. Those are the two audience. The rest are critic.
All right.
The Scorpion King with The Rock, another sort of friend of the pod because we mention him every week.
Yep.
Got a 41. Surprisingly good.
Okay.
Jurassic Park, number 3 with Sam Neill. The only one they could really pull back into the franchise after the second one. A 49.
Okay.
So you average those out, and the average is 33. How do you feel like Catwoman did?
I want to say it did half as good as Bangkok Dangerous, then half as good as that. So a 2.
Okay, it got a 9.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah. The average was 33, so you get a negative 24.
Okay.
That is Prey, unsurprisingly.
Yeah.
Good to know. Let's get into test number 2.
Sure.
The elevator movie plot pitch.
Mm-hmm.
So an easy way to determine the strength of a movie is to summarize its plot as succinctly as possible. The gold standard plot pitch for the bomb filter now is The Big Lebowski at 13 seconds. Short, clear, and easy to understand, The Big Lebowski can accurately be summarized. Oh, man, I got to fix this. In as little as 13 seconds, which I just repeated. Normally, bad movies are convoluted and lengthy, unclear, and normally it helps us to determine how convoluted the movie is by going past that 13-second standard. So we're going to record those seconds and then give it a star rating as well.
Okay.
Okay, so Rob has a stopwatch. Let's get into it. Test number 2, the elevator movie plot pitch.
The elevator movie plot pitch.
I forgot about the fart. How did I forget?
3, 2, 1, go.
An interesting angle to begin. The camera is out of focus and Dutch. What are we looking at? The camera stabilizes and the picture becomes a bit clearer. Focusing the lens now, we're staring at the vibrant static of kitty litter and a half-covered human turd. This could have been crafted by Halle Berry, but it's hard to tell. Did the director pinch off this itty-bitty kitty shitty? Upon closer observation, this poo-poo seems to be a collaborative effort. In fact, as we zoom out, we see that there are human dukes all over this litter. It seems that everyone involved in this film has taken their turn to tie off a tepid turd. Couldn't the studio have taken a look in on this movie during production? There's no chance that they peeked their heads in and left enthused. I'm honestly just confused about this. What could have possibly happened here? Time.
50 seconds.
Wow. Okay. And the gold standard is, so that gives us a 33, or 37 rather, right?
Yep.
37. And how do you feel about a star rating?
I'll do that a 3. Are you ghostwriting for Roger Ebert?
Oh man, I do miss Raj. I didn't see a review from him. So
Nah.
I would have loved to hear his words on that. I guess I could have gone to it. He has a website, I think.
Oh yeah. No, I started going to it since we started this pod.
Man, he's funny. Yeah, so I just went with just a pile of shit.
Yeah.
Just tried to find a clever way to describe a pile of shit.
Yeah.
Because that's what this movie is.
Oh yeah. Itty bitty kitty shitty. Can't go wrong.
All right. Test number 3, the indefensible dialogue counter.
Okay.
This test gathers horrible lines of dialogue into a collection that's then tallied to give us our score. So if Rob can't defend the line of dialogue, then we just tally it up.
Okay.
Let's get into it. Test number 3, the indefensible dialogue counter.
Something that makes absolutely no sense. Something similarly stupid.
Cool.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to start right from the jump. Written dialogue in the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to read you some of the things that I jotted down as the intro was starting up. Totally ridiculous. Cat mummies found among the ruins was the first thing I wrote down.
Okay.
New cat breed sold here with like a picture of a New York street corner.
Mm-hmm.
Cat cults.
Mm-hmm.
Family rescued by woman in black. Russia. New York. And then finally, imported Egyptian Mao.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how you would say it? Mao? Mao? I don't want to say meow.
I think it's Mao. Yeah. I think it's like a pun. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. How do you feel about that written dialogue?
I think it's insulting. I think you just watch the movie and you'll see those things also spelled out in an insulting way later in the movie.
Yeah.
So why do it? Why do it twice?
I don't know. That's a good point. Okay, that's one for one. 2, this is Sally, her friend.
Mm-hmm.
Responding to Tom Lone after he introduces himself, she says, God, that's such a good name, Tom Lone. Rhymes with cone, phone, bone. Not that rhyming is all that important.
No, I mean, I just hate the fact that his last name's Lone. He's like the lone sergeant.
Yeah.
It reminded me of the movie Airheads when it's like, you're the Lone Rangers, but there's 3 of you. Shouldn't you be the 3 Rangers?
That's awesome. Yeah, I still got to see that one.
Oh, it's good. It's good for what it is. It's not like great, but it's
right.
Buscemi and Brendan Fraser and Adam Sandler. You can't go wrong.
Right. If you're not looking for like a serious movie,
that
one. Number 3, this is Patience.
Mm-hmm.
First, it's only coffee. Second, I would never, ever, ever wear that leather outfit. That's supposed to be like a ha-ha, because we, of course, know that she'll be donning that leather suit later in the movie.
Yeah, and they'll be shooting it from like under like a low angle shot, so you get all the underbutt you can possibly get on a
dude. A lot of underbutt. It's maybe the highlight of the movie.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. How do you feel about that line of dialogue, though? You want to defend it?
No.
Okay.
No, it's like I've got nothing really going on with this movie. There's nothing that really redeems it at all.
All right, number 4, Ophelia and Patience. You remember Ophelia is the old lady, cat lady.
Yeah.
So Ophelia says, it's said that mouse have special powers. And then Patience says, like popping out of nowhere. And then Ophelia says, among other things, with like a wink to the cat.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I'm not going to defend it. And I have a thing about Ophelia that pisses me off. Like, she had that passing thing, like, I was a professor for 20 years, but couldn't get tenure because of men. It's like, are you sure it's not because you probably smell like cat piss?
Yeah, right. Number 5, Sally again, best friend. What's up with the hot, young, modest, but who cares he's so hot detective?
Once again, insulting.
Yes, agreed.
We know he's hot.
Yes, that's the whole reason he got cast. In miscongeniality as well, right?
Yeah.
Patience to the party host across the street.
Mm-hmm.
When she knocks him down and like hoses off his speakers or whatever. She goes, hear that? That's called silence.
No, because I've gotten speakers wet before. They don't do that. They just get a little more quiet and then they dry up and then they work again. Like they're invincible. Unless you stab a hole in a speaker, like it's fine.
Yeah, right. Okay, cool. Number 7 is our first audio clip of the week. So this is Patience again, and this one really got me. This pissed me off.
All right, here we go.
You boys thought you could come in here and steal all these beautiful things? What a perfect idea.
Oh my God. That is very frustrating.
It sounds like she held out the like as she was speaking, and someone else dubbed in the over it.
God, I hope that's true. That's really funny. I think that they realized that she wasn't overtly feline in this movie, so they decided to throw in some dialogue where she hisses and purrs and things.
Yeah.
So it's just a cheap way to throw in that cat-like quality.
Mm-hmm.
7 for 7, then.
Yeah.
Okay, number 8, I have some more written dialogue for you.
All right.
So she's Google searching. And admittedly, early internet days, but she just types in the search bar, cats, period, women.
Mm-hmm.
What is she hoping to find? And then the next one is the cat in history.
Mm-hmm.
Diabolical cases.
Okay.
Witches. Executed. Devils. Egypt. Paintings. Meow.
No, I'm not going to defend it, and I'll tell you why. Because if you look at my Google search history, it's nothing bad, but it's just like I type exactly what I'm trying to find on Google. I'm like, I have an ingrown hair near my belly button. I think it's because the button on my jeans is pressing against me and causing friction. Is that why? And it's
right.
And that's what the search query is. And then I get an answer because I typed a very specific thing into Google.
That's what my problem with it is. Like when you type cats, women, you're just going to get people who are selling cats. Or, I mean, nowadays you're going to get like an Instagram page or something. But
just type the whole sentence. You'll get your result. Immediately.
Boom. There you go. It's the internet. It's all out there. You can be specific. Ophelia again. She's talking about the cat and the whole scene where Patience is trying to rescue her out the window.
Yeah.
Midnight knew your fate. That's why she tested you.
I mean, I guess in hindsight it makes sense, but I mean, is it really a test to try saving an animal from a ledge? It's just
no. I don't understand. Did she fail the test because she ended up getting the powers anyway? Yeah, you know. So we're supposed to assume that it was Midnight that like pissed in her mouth, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that was number 9. I tallied it. Number 10.
Okay.
Ophelia again. She's like our MVP of bad dialogue.
Yeah.
You are Patience and you are Catwoman. Threw the title in there.
And then she turns to the camera and says, "This must be some hot tub time machine."
Exactly. I'm just going to tally that. Okay. Yeah. Number 11. This time it's Catwoman.
Okay.
She's in the club. Goes up to the bartender, says, "White Russian. No ice. Hold the vodka. Hold the Kahlua."
No, because we just watched Big Lebowski at the end of season 1, and I'm not going to give it the dignity of being in the same wheelhouse.
Agreed. Okay. It's not cute.
No. And they did it in The Water Boy when he's like, "I'll have a scotch and water. Hold the scotch."
Oh, yeah, true.
Same joke.
Definitely before this, too.
Yeah.
Number 12, the calligraphy expert, right?
Yeah.
At the police department. So he's talking about the letters, but the one that really bugged me is when he's talking about the O in sorry. He says, and the O, well, this person doesn't like to play by the rules. He got that off of the letter O.
I've watched 406 episodes of Forensic Files, and those were exact matches in the writing.
Yeah, I know, honestly. Okay, number 13, Tom Lone and Catwoman about her arrest.
Okay.
So Catwoman says, "Do I get din-din first?" And Tom says back, "I'll feed you in your cell."
No.
13, very forced.
Yeah.
It's forced dialogue. 14, his cop buddy says, "You may have lost your woman, but at least you found your man."
So they're saying only guys have the gall to like commit crimes because, like, you know what I mean? It's like they're calling like the perp a guy.
The man. Yeah, it's like a turn of phrase, right? Got your man thing, even if it's not. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that should have been in poor taste or something too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, remind me of that when we get there. And number 15, and then I'll just ask you if you have any mentions. But my number 15 is Mrs. Hedare. You know Sharon Stone's character.
Mm-hmm.
At the end, she is about to knock Catwoman out the window, and she says, "Game over." Catwoman says, "Guess what? It's overtime."
It reminded me of on Family Guy when Peter Griffin he shoots the gun and just yells, "It's just been revoked." And then they're like, "Do you even know what movie you're talking about?" And he's like, "I'll have what he's having." So out of place.
Yeah, right. It's about as cheesy as can be. I don't know if it's like a loose reference to the fact that she's good at basketball too. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you have any mentions? We've got 15.
It might show up in poor taste, but it is a visual dialogue of just her twerking on the basketball court in front of a bunch of children.
Oh, yeah. Okay, good. We'll throw that in taste, too.
Okay.
So remind me, it's a +2 on taste.
All right.
And that'll give us a 15 for the IDC. Good score.
All right.
Okay, test number 4, the Emotometer overspill, buddy.
Okay.
For this test, we will use another piece of custom equipment referred to as the Emotometer. The emotive meter can be fine-tuned to the emotional output of the actor in question. When activated, the meter measures the peak of emotion displayed by the actor in a given scene and compares it to the range of genuine human emotion a person would actually display. So 10 cages is the maximum score. Any more than 10 and we record the result. Let's get into it. Test number 4, the emotive meter overspill.
Overspill, where screaming is king.
Of falling in love.
All right.
All right, see if you like this one. Patience running into 4 people on her way into work, trying to look as frazzled as possible. It was Halle Berry.
Yeah.
Plugged that in, came back with a 14.
Okay.
Number 2, Catwoman stealing the bike from that partier.
Mm-hmm.
She goes, time to accessorize. Really puts a lot of sass in there.
Yeah.
Came back at 15, so we're climbing. You remember when Ophelia pulls out the catnip?
Yes.
All right, just that scene of her like rubbing it all over her face and being covered in catnip.
Yeah, like Scarface. Fucking.
Yeah, with the coat. Yeah. 16. All right, so actually the next one is immediately following. She's post catnip, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she's walking down the street, and she's got the sniffles, and she's like kind of half snarling and pursing her lips and stuff. And she goes, no, turns around and like starts back to Ophelia's maybe, I don't know, for catnip again. Mm-hmm. Turns around again to keep walking the way that she is, and she goes, no, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Yeah.
Only a 17, but you know, Halle is not good in this movie.
Nah.
Not at all. All right, clip number 2 coming up here for number 5.
Okay.
This is Patience and Mr. Hader exchange.
All right.
I am fine.
What the hell is wrong with you, Phillips? You never delivered the design. You do not, in fact, even know where they are, and you do not know where they are because, and I quote you, you cannot remember. Your incompetence is staggering.
Huh?
Are you even listening to me?
I'm sorry.
Sorry. Sorry's not nearly enough.
Okay. Then let me try the remix. I'm sorry for every second I wasted working for an untalented, unethical egomaniac like you.
Clean out your cubicle. You are fired.
Wait! Mr. Adair! I didn't mean it.
Really bad exchange. I mean, Mr. Hader, that guy, I've seen him before. I think he's in the Matrix trilogy. I think the second Matrix movie. I've seen him before. He's okay. Definitely going a little over the top there. But as you could tell, Halle was also over the top. Plugged it in, came back at 21.
Okay. You know what bugs me about... What's up?
Go ahead.
The thing that bugs me about this exchange is like... It's a ballsy heroine, you know? It's supposed to be like... someone like taking the power back. And if you look at other movies, like it's a common trope where if you're working in the graphics department of like a marketing firm, it's cutthroat. Everybody's awful to each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she's the protagonist and she's like telling off her boss who's a dick to everyone. There's nothing really at stake there. But meanwhile, in the real world, it's like women are afraid to get into a taxi by themselves because statistically it's not going to be a good thing. You know what I mean? And it's like you have a multi-million-dollar budget and this platform, an international platform, and like her biggest like contender is like her mean boss.
Right? Yeah. True. It's not. It just doesn't give you the kind of contrast you want to see for the taking the power back. You just You're not taking much power back by quitting your job, basically. I mean, that was like a job suicide attempt there.
And it's like there's worse things happening to your constituents that you could have been defending instead of just like this one guy who's an asshole to everyone. Yeah,
right. And the whole crowd goes wild after he calls him unethical. Like, unethical, really? That's like, we're all going to shout and cheer for you because you called him unethical. Anyway, the next clip, the next scene is another clip, and I'm just going to let you play it.
All right, playing it right now.
Yeah, but I wasn't saying. You understand?
Well, whoever said it, the banks have a great little art department.
You don't understand, Sally. I want to come I'm sorry.
Come on.
What was that? Allergies?
Okay, so I'm thinking that wasn't as clear as I was hoping it would be, but she hisses at the dogs there.
Yeah.
And then her friend Sally asks her what that was, and she says allergies.
Yeah.
I mean, that could have been on ADC as well, but the hiss was over the top, came back at 20.
Okay.
I'll move on to number 7. I'm still trying to hurry because, we got our buddy waiting, so I don't want to make him wait too long. But number 7, patients eating sushi.
That's actually one scene I found like the slightest bit of amusement out of. Sure. I didn't like the resolution, but like just the fact that she was just beasting out like frickin' tuna rolls. Just like, I don't know. It made me chuckle for a minute.
Sure. Yeah. It came back at 20 as well.
Okay.
And then we have 2 more, another 20 here. That Ferris wheel was overacting. We have another inanimate object.
Yeah.
It was intent on killing everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, did you see those gears? I mean, the guy kind of got it under control, and then it was like, no, fuck these people. They're coming off this Ferris wheel. He did. The Ferris wheel didn't know that Catwoman was there.
Yeah.
And Tom Lone. I mean, you have 2 superstars.
Yeah.
Pick another next ride.
Yeah.
Or, wait it out. But I guess he didn't know it was Catwoman. Nobody did.
No.
So that Ferris wheel trying to murder everyone came back to 20.
Okay.
And here is the Big Daddy.
All right.
The basketball scene.
Yeah.
All of the laughing, all of the ass jiggling, all of the bad CGI, all of the obvious moments where it was stunt people in the same outfit doing the dribbling.
Yep.
All the cutting back and forth, all the laughing, and the fucking gigantic posterizing dunk on Tom Lone.
Yep.
Not worried that he's going to recognize her agility as unusual, so to speak. And I didn't even know it spit back a range to me between 23 and 29, and I wanted to know where you landed on this one.
Let's give it a 27.
Okay, 27.
Yeah.
That was maybe not only like completely laughable, but maybe the cheesiest scene I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah.
I was appalled, dude.
You know what I wanted to see? Like you mentioned the stunt doubles. You ever see the movie Palindromes?
No.
So like, the plot's like this: like a 14-year-old girl runs away from home. She wants to get pregnant and have a kid. And but the whole point of the movie is there's a different actress playing protagonist throughout different acts of the film. So like it's like some skinny, like curly haired white girl, and then in the next scene it's like a 400-pound black woman, and the next scene it's like a 30-year-old blonde woman. It's like they keep changing who's the actress playing the character, and like the whole point of the movie is like no matter where you go, where you're going, basically you're always going to be the same person no matter how you change. Like the core of you stays the same. That's kind of like the point of the movie. But could you imagine if the stunt doubles were all different heights and weights and builds as that scene played out?
It's like clearly guy hands.
Yeah.
Like that really red outfit. That would be awesome. I have a mention.
Okay.
Mrs. Hadir, or Hadir, I am going to butcher that all night. To the police about her husband's death only came out at 2 because she goes, "Oh, George,"
with like the hanky,
exactly, like the fainting sadness, and then immediately looks up and smiles at Catwoman as she's chased out of the house.
Yeah.
Do you have any mentions?
No, that about covers it.
Okay, cool.
The basketball is my big one. Just because
unbelievable.
Just the overacting on that scene.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Whew. Well, that's going to bring Catwoman into the full-on Ass Cheek Championship.
Okay.
So whenever you're ready, we'll get into it.
Yeah, sounds good.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to Ass Cheek!
Welcome one and all to the Ass Cheek Arena, where we have quite a conflict on the books for you today. Your champion, Turl, will be taking on a spicy new up-and-comer in Catwoman. Let's send it down for our introductions. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends from distant planets. Introducing first, standing at 5'4" tall and weighing in at 35 pounds, from Gotham City, New York, your challenger, Catwoman. And now, standing at 9'2" of towering intellect, weighing in at 530 pounds of Kerbango-infused concrete, fighting out of Cyclo City, planet Cyclo, your reigning, defending full-on Ass Cheek champion of the universe, Turl. And there's the bell. Turl pulls the stun gun, but the cat is too quick and she whips it out of his hand. Catwoman now lashing the whip around Turl's arm and pulls him closer. Turl, shocked that a woman achieves such leverage. Turl, with a very clever distraction, throws rats into the arena and Catwoman gives chase. Turl, now with plenty of time, sets up a Klinko language learning machine. He snatches that cat lady and straps her in. Catwoman now with the trigonometry, biology, chemistry, and more importantly, Cyclo language streaming directly into her brain through her narrow pupils. Turl, turning off the machine now, explains to Catwoman that he wanted her to learn Cyclo so that he could tell her what a crap lousy fighter she is. Thank you to our very own Klinko language slave for that translation. Oh, Turl, quick to add thanks for your patience. Catwoman now with a leap, and she dunks all over Turl's ass. Posterized again, Travolta. Catwoman with scratches to the face as she mounts the mountain of a Cyclo. Turl, bleeding all over, now pulls out some catnip. Yes, a tight ball of catnip for her patients, and she is as happy as a kitten on a straight diet of Kerbango. Turl shoots her in the head. That about wraps it up. Turl remains champ, but she did get in her licks.
Yeah.
Get Tom Lone in here to file a report. Back to you guys at the pod. Well, that was abrupt, Rob.
Yeah.
That was very abrupt. That catnip was a good play, dude.
Oh, yeah.
He must have seen how Patience was around that catnip.
Oh, yeah.
You want to do your ad read?
Sure. Today's episode of The Bomb Filter is brought to you by Annoying Tiny House Guy blog. Want to feel bad for taking too long of a shower? Or perhaps you want to hear about his trip to Portland, which was unreal. Maybe you just want to live in a shed and shit in a bucket instead of learning how to pay a utility bill. Or maybe you want to render used bacon grease into bath soap. Whatever your reason, Craig will walk you through the tiny life with a shitty little blog about his shitty little house. Find it on YouTube or something. I don't care. I'm glad to be on board. I'm glad to be on board.
Yeah, same here. Same here. Cool. Very cool. All right. Let's get into test number 5, buddy.
Sure.
The poor taste detector.
Okay.
This test is designed to identify and flag potential hazards created by the film crew. These hazards consist of moments of immorality, abuse, racism, phobias, and any other in poor taste scenarios. Let's do test number 5. The poor taste detector.
Oh my god, you can't say that. It's 2021.
Right.
Cool. We got a clip coming up, but not for a little bit. I'm just going to get us there. Number 1, Tom tracking Patience down and hanging out at her workplace without permission.
Yeah, it's never a good look.
No, it's a little creepy.
Like, I worked in the restaurant industry for a while, and like 12 years, and my most recent job before COVID, I was at a bar and grill, and the amount of girls I work with that would want me to or me or the other cook to walk them to their car after their shift because some dude's just gassing them out at the bar all night. It's uncomfortable. Yeah,
guys can be creepy. This is definitely a stalker move.
Yeah.
Of course, he's a cop, and he had her wallet, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah.
Number 2. So I wrote the Coach Dad business philosophy. So
Mhm.
You know how, like, I don't know how much you played, like, sports when you were growing up, but I played, like, pretty much every sport for a couple of years at least.
Okay.
And I knew a couple of, like, coach dads who would put their son in the position of, like, quarterback.
Pitcher, yeah.
You know, the important things. And the relationship that Mr. Hadir has by hiring his wife to be the main attraction model for the business seems like definite conflict of interest and in poor taste.
Yeah, and then when he hires a ringer to replace her, like, it's not going to go over well at
True.
all.
That brings us to number 3, adultery.
All right.
I wrote down number 4. You tell me if this counts. It's definitely a stretch, but I wanted it in here somewhere. 7 fucking tuna cans on the bed. She's going ham on that tuna, dude.
If you've ever done the keto diet, it's not too far off.
Okay. So should I just cross that one off?
No, yeah, because
right.
I mean that of all, like, the shitty imagery in this movie, like, at least that's something a cat would do, I guess.
Yeah.
So
okay, if it had access to a can of her.
Yeah.
Number 5, sitting at the nurse's station. So Sally's on the phone and she just decides to, like, sit down where there's a bunch of, like, important reports and equipment and stuff. She's just holding that conversation.
Isn't that like a HIPAA violation?
Probably. Yeah. Probably.
Let's call it that.
Okay. Number 6. Obvious pandering to horny men.
Yes.
All right. Number 7. Lashing a whip into a large crowd. Thinking on the dance floor.
Yeah.
She didn't give anybody any warning. She just started lashing the whip around. Not sure if she hit anybody.
Yeah, I mean, like, I was going to say, like, what if you just took, like, some kid's eye out? I mean, it's a club. It's all adults. It's 21 plus, clearly. But, you know, like, you could, like, what if one of those people was just stopping by that place to drop off the life-saving serum for someone who needed it, and they
could have spilled it all over the place.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, could have been an antidote for a bad spider bite.
Yeah.
You know, and that person's not going to live now because you're flipping around a whip in the middle of the dance floor, unannounced.
Yeah.
Number 8, hitting a game operator with a baseball.
Yeah.
There's no way that wasn't intentional.
No.
He's like 7 feet away at least. Just like whip the ball at him.
Getting hit by a baseball fucking hurts too, and that's the one sport I played growing up. And I was pitching once, and I got a line drive right to the fucking glasses.
Hey, you were pitching? Was your father the coach by chance?
No, I was just a pretty decent pitcher. But I remember throwing the ball. A line drive hit me in the face, and then I woke up at home.
Oh, jeez.
It's one of those.
Yeah. That's not good.
No.
All right. Let's take it to clip number 4.
Okay.
This is our number 9.
Yeah.
I think this is a total waste of time.
Don't.
Why?
Think, Ed. Consider it a condition of our relationship.
Right.
Not saying the guy deserves to die, but what a sexist piece of shit.
Yeah, I still want more out of a villain, though. I mean, because he's a shitbag and he's, like, awful to women, but also his wife is the wife, Mrs. Hadir, is the clear villain, though, isn't she?
Yeah.
Or is he that's the problem in the movie. I don't know who the villain is.
Well, it's supposed to be kind of a diversion, I think, with him. You know, like he's shitty so that you think he's the bad guy.
Yeah, he's complicit. I mean, like, so he's guilty of being complicit, but he didn't do anything to stop anything, but he's also not the puppet master either.
Yeah, agreed. Number 10, stealing a motorcycle / stealing a car.
Mm-hmm.
Just not cool.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
I've got 3 more.
Okay.
Killing a woman instead of giving her like a non-disclosure agreement, you know, something like that. She found you out. Sue her. Say she's lying, you know?
Yeah.
do the politician move and just say that's not true and sue her into oblivion or non-disclosure agreement.
Yeah.
Don't kill her.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, because the obvious thing happens. You get flushed out in a sewer and a bunch of cats lick your mouth, and then you wake up and you're a Catwoman and you overthrow their empire.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
That's what happens, I guess.
Yeah, every time, without doubt.
Number 12, and I'm not going to get into this because we're going to get into it later with our guest, probably,
okay.
I'm assuming. FDA disinterest in Buline.
Yeah.
Had they taken a look, say.
Yeah.
Anyway, number 13, and this is my last one. Why do I have this down? Number 13, I wrote the information opening month. I'm thinking that this is for our okay, never mind. This is for our next test. Never mind.
Oh, right.
So just 12, and really we have to deduct 1 because number 4 didn't count. Right. So 11 is our score. Cool. All right, let's move it on to test number 6, and maybe I'll just go with that one first.
Okay.
So test number 6 is bad accounting for entropy. So bad movies rely too heavily on films of the past. So when recycling an idea, a director or writer is committing to a trope. Almost every movie has 1 or 2, but bad movies have many. So we count them up, and that helps us to evaluate the film. Let's get into it. Test number 6, accounting for entropy.
Obvious tropes. Brought to you by, he's right behind me, isn't he? We're gonna need a bigger boat, and well, fuck me sideways and call me Senator Blimpy.
Yeah, what an idiot. I wrote 13 at the end of...
oh, gotcha.
I don't know why it's supposed to be for the next test. So. Anyway, the day I died trope to start the movie. How many movies start with the day the person dies and then rewinds, whatever. It's not exactly that, but it's close enough.
Yeah.
Also, the beginning, the information opening montage. This is the one that I cited in the wrong test, but they just give you like a bunch of blurbs about cats to kind of catch you up with the situation.
Yeah.
And I might mention they did a horrible job because, like I said, it's like Egypt and the mummies they're mummy cats and there's a woman in black that saved a family. Yeah. Just did a really bad job. Okay, so we'll go. I'm just going to say number 2. Really, it's number 3 now. The disheveled artist.
Yeah.
She is really frumpy looking, running into people, as I mentioned, on her way in. Can't get her life together. Blah, blah, blah.
I thought we said off air you wouldn't talk about me like that.
I wanted you to get a little upset for our illogical inconsistencies.
Right, sounds good.
Thought I'd throw a left hook anyway. So number 3, out with the old and in with the new.
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to cause dissension in your ranks when you remove your top model and replace it with a hot new piece.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4, I'm curious to see how you feel about this one.
Okay.
Like in a movie such as Overboard with Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn. Have you seen that?
I haven't.
The movie is predicated on water amnesia, essentially. They don't call it that, but it's like the loss of all memory due to nearly being drowned.
Okay.
So I wrote water amnesia because this is another example of someone who nearly drowns and then wakes up with no memory.
Yeah.
They do it shoddily. They don't really hit it home. The fact that she can't really remember anything, they mention it.
They do it when it's convenient.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not good. Number 5, the Oracle. So that fountain of cat knowledge that is Ophelia.
Mm-hmm.
Good for exposition. Number 6, the horny best friend comic relief.
Yeah.
Also maybe in a little bit of poor taste because, like, although she's somewhat aesthetically pleasing, I would say, Sally is. She's obviously a little overweight, so I think that there might be a little bit of a tie-in to the poor taste detector where it's supposed to be a little funnier because she's kind of hitting on the hot top, even though she's kind of chubby. And
She's not the hot best friend, and she's You know who that is, right?
She looks so familiar.
She was on Mad TV. She did like the little Asian lady, and then
okay.
And then she's Lois Griffin on Family Guy. It's Alice Thornstein.
No shit. How about that? Well, good for her. So she did well for herself.
Oh, very well.
Number 7, robbing the robbers. So Catwoman shows up when most of the job is done and just takes everything from them.
Yeah.
Number 8, Tom Lone, of course, is the lead detective on the robbery case.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, did that make me roll my eyes.
Yep.
Like, of course he is. Number 9, the shitty junk science backstory. So the god of Bast or whatever.
Yeah.
Cat thing. So they're giving you the explanation. And I like to refer to the first new It movie.
Yeah.
It's great. There's no backstory. There's no junk science, right?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter where the clown is from. I don't care.
I have an honorable mention, but you might have it.
Okay.
The origin story in general.
Yeah, that's basically what I'm going for here. Yeah, the backstory.
Yeah, because you've seen Bruce Wayne's parents get murdered a million times. You've seen Peter Parker get bitten by a spider. You see Hulk get exposed to radiation. Enough. It's in our sphere enough, even if you're a casual fan of these things, to know what these guys are. So just show these guys being these guys. So we can, because this whole movie was exposition. The whole. I'm pointing to my TV right now, but this whole movie is exposition. And like the first 50 minutes of the movie is just her becoming Catwoman. It's like you could have had 50 minutes of her being Catwoman and doing cool Catwoman stuff.
Yeah, instead of doing all this bullshit.
Yeah.
Agreed. Number 10, the stuck Ferris wheel.
Yep.
Seen that a lot. And I'm gonna give him another knock for that because number 11 is the near-death loose bar kid endangerment.
Yeah.
Seen that too. Every time a Ferris wheel gets stuck, of course, one of the seats is like loose and about to fall.
Yeah.
Number 12, can't recognize patients if she's wearing a cowl. That's basically a superhero trope. It's like, looks exactly like Bruce Wayne when you put the mask over your eyes.
Yeah.
Number 13, the slow-mo romance scene.
Yep.
Goes to them like tearing each other's clothes off in slow motion with like a sexy soundtrack going on in the background.
Yeah, they had that smooth jazz going a few times in the movie.
Yeah, exactly. Number 14, Mrs. Hader hits the bullseye with her body.
Yep.
For some reason, it's always it happens in Lord of the Rings too. When Saruman falls off the big tower, he of course hits the big spike. And, I think it happens in Daredevil. You know what's a really good one? Cable Guy. Oh, yeah. Right in the middle of the
right on the satellite dish.
Yeah.
That was actually poetic, though, I think. Because the TV that raised him to be the adult he is like the implement of his destruction at the same time. Yeah, no joke. It's kind of a good movie, honestly. It's just a bummer. Like, I never really want to watch it because it just gives me weird vibes. Yeah. Number 15, Tom is not dead, but incapacitated. He only got shot in the chest, so I mean... he gets shot a couple times, maybe like once in the arm, once in the upper chest up here. But he's incapacitated, so that allows for Catwoman and, Marble Skin Lady to go one-on-one. Very Marble Skin Lady. very, very tropey. Yeah. That's 16. Okay. Very tropey. Okay. And I already have I won't have to flip pages again for the next one because I already have it jotted down. All right. And that is test number 7. Then we're going to introduce our first ever guest and get into illogical inconsistencies. Cool. So test number 7 is bad effects, side effects. So this is a simple test idea with a complex but very, very precise structure. Couldn't be more precise, as a matter of fact. Yeah. So we grade movies, computer graphics, and practical effects, makeup, scene setting, things like that, on our custom scale. So I'm going to describe that to you now. Bad CGI, like awful CGI, gets a deep blue C from us. This is terrible practical effects as well. In the matter of the sharks in deep blue sea that were just atrocious to look at.
Slightly better than that, Total Recall after the movie in the 80s with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Very bad practical effects, especially if you look at it now. Maybe it was like, okay back then. Better still, Rock Scorpion. So this is, of course, Dwayne Johnson as a half scorpion, half human god in The Mummy Returns, was it? And then the best of the bad is Beowulf, an entire movie made of CGI that at the time they thought looked just like reality. But now that we have better CGI, it doesn't. It's like eerie, right? That's our scale. So you get a 1 for bad CGI, all the way to a 4 or for Deep Blue, and all the way to a 4 for Beowulf. And then I add it all up, divided by how many instances there were, and that gives us a score. So let's get into it. Test number 7, bad effects, side effects.
Bad CGI till the day I die.
All
right. So the first one is the drowning scene opening. I thought actually plausible, looked fine. Yeah. The lighting was good enough that you can see that she looked dead, a little pale for Halle Berry. Fine. Gave it a scorpion. Wanted to give them a couple of somethings when I could, because this is a bad CGI movie.
Yes.
Number 2, the red. I had to mention this because last week on Bangkok Dangerous we had something similar. The red washed furnace room as she's running through the facility.
Yeah.
What's with that?
I don't know.
Why do they put odd lighting in separate rooms that you're never in?
Yeah.
Anyway, gave that a recall.
Okay.
The Egyptian Mao cat call when it's trying to convene the ceremony of the cat piss moment. Deep Blue. It looked terrible. It's like Ma.
Yeah.
Opening his mouth all wide. It's obviously not a cat.
Yeah.
Looked like a rubber puppet or something. And then the patient's cheesing mist, I wrote, straight to the mouth itself was a blue.
Yeah.
Okay, so I like this one. Here's some credit for them.
Okay.
Remember that scene where they go into the skyscraper for a transition into Ophelia's house?
Yes.
So they're looking at the reflection in the skyscraper and then go through it into the scene, which I thought was kind of cool. Gave it a scorpion. Nothing crazy, but good. One-on-one, B-ball, flash, obvious stunt person, bad, rubbery animation. Gave it a blue.
Okay.
I mean, I think that's our third reference to the scene. It deserves all the hate that I can give it. So a blue there. What's with setting a scene of a guy's apartment that looks like a club?
I don't know. I mean, it's like a 1-bedroom or a studio, just like hers. Because even though it's across the way, it's probably the same property management company.
Yeah,
exactly. It's probably the same floor plan.
It's not a club. It's a dude's apartment.
Yeah, you're not supposed to make noise after 9 p.m. You sign that on a lease.
Yeah,
that's standard. That's standard.
I put the agility CGI in general down as a total scorpion, somewhere between Total Recall and Scorpion. Okay. I think for the time it was probably okay, but now it just looks like shit.
Yeah.
And then that brings me into traversing the city.
Okay.
Gave it a recall because it didn't look like she was really running on roofs and things.
Yeah. Most establishing shots of the city didn't look good. It looked like it was all CGI. It looked like The Sims or something like that.
Yeah, agreed. Another point in their favor, though. Like I mentioned, the window reflection transition. This is just for other interesting transitions. I'm thinking of when Sally falls down and is about to go to the hospital.
Yeah,
because they don't know what's wrong with her. It's actually wiped away by a woman walking on the street. So it's very comic booky. And the transition, along with others, I think there's a gunshot transition that's kind of cool. Yeah. So I gave them for Scorpion for the transitions in general, just to be generous.
Yeah.
I thought the window shatter at the end, along with the whip dynamics, was terrible.
Yeah, it didn't look good.
Gave it a deep blue.
Okay.
And the last one that I have is at the end, they're showing Halle Berry in the sexy cat suit walking away. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, they made the CGI for her extra curvaceous. Yeah. To sex it up, I guess. And I gave them a recall because that's also a little offensive.
All right.
That's what I have for bad effects, side effects. You feel good about that? Because the score, after I added all those up, like I said, 1 for a blue, all the way to 4 for a Beowulf, averaged them out, divided by 12, I got a 1.85. So I rounded up to recall, which is basically where we're at for the season.
Okay.
Everybody's a recall.
Yeah.
So fine. There we go. We've got our test results. So we're going to go into our logical inconsistencies section, but this week it's going to be a little bit different because from here to the end of the pod, before we start plugging our shit, we're going to be joined by our first guest. So let me introduce the man. He's a teacher from Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh to be more precise, and he's a fellow movie lover. Check out his page on Instagram, When You Think in Movie Scenes. It's very cool. You check it out. It's really cool. His name is Bob Hasek. I hope I got that right.
Perfect.
Bob, are you there?
Yeah.
Hey, Bob.
My mic good?
It's good.
Hey, sound good. Yep.
I got a question for you.
Sure thing.
How are you, and why are you doing this?
I'm doing very well. I wasn't aware that when you asked that question, like you said, that's what I'm going to ask you. My son recently told me, he's 16. He said, you know what? You hate every actor. You hate every actress. I'm like, no, that's not true. And it's not true. But I do love talking shit on them. So this is a perfect avenue for that mini obsession that I have. So thanks, guys, for having me on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're very happy to have you on. And you told me that you hate this movie in particular.
well, I always thought Halle Berry was a bad actress. Couldn't understand how she won an Academy Award. And then when I saw this coming out, I'm like, no, never gonna watch it. And then I also just don't like superhero movies in general. And I said, well, this is definitely a no-watcher. And then you're like, hey, you want to join us? I'm like, well, I guess I have to watch it now. So it was hard. I don't think I didn't watch it straight through. It was too hard.
Yeah.
Like I almost turned away at the basketball scene just completely. But
I couldn't believe it.
I kept going.
Well, good on you for your persistence.
and damn you for choosing this movie. But anyway.
Yeah.
So I've listened to a handful of your episodes, and this segment is perfect for this movie but at the same time, here's my issue. Superhero movies in general, I feel like can get away with so much illogical because they'll just say, well, it's superpowers. So, they whatever. So I try to avoid those obvious ones because I'm like, well, they're just going to claim superhero. So I can't really say much. So I tried to stick to the ones that were illogical or inconsistent, regardless of the superhero trope, I guess you want to call it.
Okay, yeah.
So get right into it then?
Yeah, go for it, man.
Or is there a bump? I forget.
There should be, but there isn't.
Yeah, we probably should have a bump.
Yeah, I'll get on that.
All right. Just make it a quick fart noise just to make Chris happy. Okay. Okay, so most of these are chronological. So I'm going to start with the cat rescue. She didn't even attempt to rescue the cat. Like, she basically went straight to the ledge. Like, there was no, like, goading the cat. There was no calling. It was just immediately, oh, you want rescued. Boom, on the ledge. So no wonder they thought she was a jumper. So I thought that was a little bit illogical, but not necessarily. That was the least violation, I think. Okay.
Cool.
Now, I mentioned this to Rob earlier. I don't know if this fits in this category, but they use this transition of a crane shot going up a set of stairs, and they show like all the employees hanging out, and then you kind of see Alex Borstein and Halle Berry like at their cubicle. They use that same exact transition twice in the same like 5-minute sequence, which they first of all shouldn't use transitions with lead actors in them. Second of all, they use the exact same shot for 2 totally different scenes when 2 totally different things were happening. And I thought that was I'd call that inconsistency, I think, because it didn't fit in with the scenes at all.
Would you call that bad direction?
I'd call that really bad editing.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, at the same time, they don't have enough B-roll, so I guess that's both.
Yeah. Yeah, fair.
So this one, I don't know. I never worked in graphic design, but I do teach computer science, so I know enough. I know enough that if the wrong red is your problem in an ad, that's a quick, like, 5-second fix.
Easy fix. Yeah.
That is not have it done by midnight. You know, that is not that kind of
I need 5 by 5.
I was really bothered by that. I'm like, that's the big issue. It's the wrong red. Okay. So then, jumping on that same point, she wakes up the next morning. She's like, I have a deadline. I'm late for work. And then she runs to work. And then she's chilling with her friends at work for like the rest of the scene. She's just like, I got no fucking deadline. What are you talking about, deadline? And then she's, of course, she runs back to the factory at midnight for the deadline. So I thought that was extremely inconsistent.
Yeah.
Now this, I actually did a little research on this one because I didn't want to sound stupid. Those were the largest wastewater pipes I've ever seen in my life. You could walk and probably jump inside them. They were that big. And I looked it up. There is no such pipe in existence, especially for wastewater. So that was just completely illogical. They run a cosmetics factory. The amount of wastewater would fit down like a toilet bowl pipe. So I'm positive that was excessive. So I know that's nitpicking, but that was really bad. I mean,
I'm thinking of another movie scene here.
So I'm thinking of I thought of The Fugitive right away.
Yeah, same here. That's the one I was going to say.
That wasn't wastewater, though. That was different.
No, it was a dam, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was not quite dam level. But that almost fits in tropes, I have to say. Like, stuck in a large pipe. I mean, come on.
Well, what kind of cosmetic company has that much power? It's just like, right. I just wanted to butt in real quick with that. That's all I got.
Like that, but like the whole press is just hanging on their every release. Like, oh my God, they're really going to release this. I can't wait. So Alex Borstein was sick. I'm glad you mentioned the spot when she was at the desk because that just drove me insane. I'm like the nurse has to like ask her to get out of the way. But the fact that she was sick is one thing. Taken to the hospital, okay, maybe. But overnight in the hospital, there's no insurance that's going to pay for that if you're walking around looking that good using office phones. I thought that
they don't know what's wrong with you.
Yeah. And she was obviously just gossiping on hospital equipment. I just give me a break. Okay. I'm trying to think if I wrote these in order or not. So she developed all these amazing cat skills, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never seen a cat ride a motorcycle, but suddenly she knew how.
Yes.
She suddenly knew how to ride a motorcycle. But that might go in the whole superhero thing, so I didn't want to go too far into that. But that also goes, she's eating, what did you say, 7 cans of tuna?
Yeah, it was 7. I counted.
So she completely loses all human ability to be logical, and she's just eating like a cat, like just shoveling it in. And her cell phone rings, and immediately she's, hello? Like, it's just, hey, I can use a phone even though I'm completely in cat mode. And I thought she could just turn it on and off like that. Then that totally takes away. I don't know. That made me laugh. I think I actually groaned out loud, like almost yelled. My daughter was like, what's happened down there? I'm like, you just shut up. I'm trying to be angry and you're making me feel bad. The jewelry store fight scene. No one mentioned that one yet. So 2 things. First of all, this might have fallen into the special effects.
Mm-hmm.
The guys break the glass of the jewelry cases with the butts of their rifles.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
The glass breaks before they get there.
Oh my God.
Wow.
So I know it's only like a split second, but they're like coming down and crash, then they go down. And I'm like, oh. And then it happens like twice in a row. Like, don't you get shot again? Oh, I did it again. So, so that was, I'd call that inconsistency, I guess. That's what I was doing.
Yeah, right.
And then she fights them. I mean, the whole thing was dumb. She's here, she's there. Okay.
Yes.
But then she knocks them over. Like, I don't know if you remember that horrible, choreography where she just hits them and they just like bonk each other like the Three Stooges and they fall over. So they fall over from that, which is nothing. They barely got hit.
Yeah.
There's a full fight sequence with her and like other guys. When that's fully done, those guys are still just getting up from being knocked over, which is, I don't know. I think I've gotten up faster from like slipping on ice. So
yeah, it's like wrestling when they,
it's exactly like wrestling, and
when it's convenient.
And here's the thing. Yeah, bad movies have bad fight scenes. This is $100 million budget. That was inexcusable. I thought that was no good. Now you mentioned the web searching. For 2005, well, I guess it was shot in 2004. I'll give it a little bit of room because the websites, there weren't very many websites. There weren't really shopping sites. There weren't really videos and pictures back then as much.
Yeah.
But it was a shameless plug of Yahoo and Apple. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah.
They kept showing the Apple logo. They kept showing the Yahoo bar. And at that time, Yahoo was it. You know, I mean,
right.
Google was around, I guess, but it wasn't like, you know, the number one. That doesn't fit in anything. I just want to mention.
Well, this category is definitely like a catch-all. So throw whatever you got in there.
Yeah. You said I could say what I wanted, right?
So
no one mentioned this yet. No cameras fucking anywhere. The jewelry store had not a single camera to catch this robbery.
That's good.
The factory didn't have a single camera, although they had everything else. But they didn't have a camera. And this is 04, 05. They had cameras. I guarantee they had cameras.
No doubt about it.
That drove me nuts every time. So speaking of that, you already did mention he's the detective on the robbery.
Yes.
I have police in my family that the robbery detective is never the homicide detective. That is a completely different department.
Yeah, different departments.
So,
right.
And he was on duty 24 hours a day in this movie.
Yeah.
Let me ask you too. Do most local precincts have extensive forensic laboratories in their building?
And that's a good point. They might have labs. They never get stuff done that fast.
Yeah.
It's usually like, sorry, you got to wait like 4 weeks. So that's run. The guys aren't working. They're working around the clock.
For lipstick analysis.
And handwriting.
Oh, you're right, though. That was hilarious when they're like, you know what? These two handwritings could be different. I'm like, oh, my God.
It's like exactly the same. Yeah. And Tom Lone is like, I'm going to go with my gut anyway. Thank you for your assessment, but they look pretty similar to me. So
one more links to the jewelry store. That scene just, that was where I think I stopped and came back later after that scene.
Yeah.
Was the fact that she stole a bunch of shit and then apologized. But then she stole a car and a motorcycle and was like, fuck it, I don't care.
Yeah.
That's major inconsistency. Except they because the writers are paid, they did say later in the script, I'm good, but sometimes I'm bad. So that excuses every inconsistency in this character. And that's it is what it is. Basketball scene. You've said almost everything. The only thing I'm going to say is that gravity, it was funny. The last dunk, the ball goes in the hoop.
Yeah.
He falls, she falls, then the ball comes. So apparently the ball falls at a much slower rate than two human bodies. Like a much slower rate. Like they were down, like had a romantic look, and then the ball came down. Like, and then the kids who were so impressed and crowding around just snapped. I'm like, can we have our ball back? For God's sake.
That's true.
I laughed at that kid. I'm like, that kid deserves the best actor award in this movie.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
He turned on her like that. He's like, yeah, that was great and all, but give me my ball back.
Yeah, real cool, but
cat
my
bitch.
ball.
Okay. So, the cat lady's house. I forget her character name. What was her name again?
Ophelia.
Ophelia. Okay.
Ophelia Powers.
I do agree that the transition to her house I did like that. I was actually thinking, this reminds me of Up, like when the guy's house was the only house in the city. Like it just looked just like that. I'm like, okay, I like that. But I know a lot of Victorian homes, and when you walk in the front door, I've never seen one big enough to have that gigantic oval 2-story opening.
Yeah.
With, a full library. Like the outside of the house did not match the inside of the house. I thought that was a little bit, shitty. However, I thought it was hilarious. And I don't know what this fits into, but she had a breakaway railing on the balcony.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Like it wasn't like she broke it through. It just opened like a set of like saloon doors. I always take this way down. She happened to fall, and then this is the illogical part. As soon as she falls down, she happened to have in her hands actually she didn't. If you watch the scene, she had nothing in her hands. Then suddenly she had a full stack of papers, and every single one of them was all the cat people that came before her. I thought that was
right.
That was really dumb. As if this movie wasn't dumb enough. I thought, that was that.
And doesn't that cheapen the Catwoman character? I think I might even say this in a little bit, but yeah, all right. True. No, I'm not going to get into it, but
that's a really good point, though. And I mean, that begs the question: Ophelia must be a Catwoman. At least I'm assuming she is. You know?
I thought so.
Yeah,
I got that.
So I kind of went on a lull for a while there, of just like things were starting to repeat until the last fight scene. So yeah, she explains away that her skin's like marble, so it's not scratching, she's not bruising,
yeah,
and she can take hits. But the human brain and the organs in the body will be shaken, regardless of how thick your skin is.
Yes.
But she was unaffected by every slam and smack that happened to her, and they counted it off as just, well, my skin is very thick.
Yeah, and they had to operate on that principle that you just said, where her organs and things like get shuffled around in there, because otherwise the impact of the fall wouldn't kill her either.
Right, and I was wondering how they were going to handle that. I'm like, is this a sequel? Is she going to come back from this? Is she going to open her eyes at the bottom and say, "Oh boy, good thing I have marble skin"? You know, I wasn't sure where that was going. So the fact that she was bleeding, at least, is like, oh, okay, well, or I think I don't know. Did she bleed at the end?
I think she was using the whip to take the makeup off, and then she could rough her up.
Okay.
I think that's what I gathered.
But, okay, that's good. That's good, Rob. I didn't think, because I was wondering how it was that she did any damage to the face at all.
I thought it was the claws because they're diamonds, and that would scratch marble.
Oh, okay, yeah, good, good.
That was my guess, but they never said they were diamonds.
Yeah, well, let's go with both. That would help it a little further along. So.
Now, I wasn't keeping this. Let me look at I wrote bullet points, sort of. So should I add them up, or are we just going on guesses?
Yeah, we don't really give a score. I was saying to Rob last pod that we should maybe make this a test.
Yeah,
because this is kind of just our like fun section where we just like point out everything we hate about it that doesn't fit in the category. So
even though I'm not on for this segment, I love Total Recall's practical effects.
Oh, you do? Okay. Yeah. So
I love Total Recall.
Oh my God, I love Total Recall. The thing is, I don't know, what was that, 1990? I think
it was 89. Or I
mean, when you compare it to the Terminator, the first Terminator, it blew it away. It just completely blew it away.
Sure.
And I loved them, but yeah, they were in full light, and that made them look cheaper. But
yeah, so like when you see, so it's like Arnold when he takes a tumble down a Martian hill in his dream, and his mask opens up, and I think later in the movie he does actually live out this horrible fantasy, but he can't breathe, and then their eyes are coming out of their face, and it's like you would be dead at this point when you're like all of your organs are so starved and your eyes are 6 inches out of your head. You're not going to live through that. You know what I mean? But yeah, I agree. Like I think I had said before that, like for the time, it was probably pretty good. But you look back at it now, it looked like kind of horror movie, like a Peter Jackson's another horror movie.
Considering it came out after The Thing, you're right. It is pretty bad, I guess.
Well, I mean, it could be that it's pretty damn good for the time, though. So that's fair. All right. Well, what else do you have? You have anything else you want to say?
Not till we get to credits, because I got something on credit. I got 3 things on credits, unless you already say them.
Cool. No, I do have. I wrote down some illogical inconsistencies of my own. In fact, we still have an audio clip to get to. Okay. But I want you to obviously hang, Bob, and just contribute whenever you want. Rob usually cuts in with his thoughts during this section, but I've got a lot of funny shit to say about how bad this movie was too.
Okay.
So for working at a cosmetic developer, she looks super frumpy. I feel like they might not have hired her to begin with. I know that's it would be in poor taste to not hire someone based on their image, but if you're making cosmetics, you're probably even if it's just your designer, it's probably something that you're looking for, somebody who's put together. I think he even mentions that she needs to get a manicure or something like that. Mm-hmm. If there's a raging party at 4 a.m., Rob, you mentioned this, ordinance, call the police.
Yeah.
Call the police. Also, that midnight deadline that he gave her is bullshit. What is that? Yeah. It was to set up the The fact that she's going back to the place to get killed.
Yeah.
You know, but who gives you a midnight deadline?
Can I go back to the party?
Yeah, definitely.
I think like it was a party. It was framed as a party, and then later on, it sure looked like it was a functioning bar because they had those sprayers. So you can't bust up a bar and just walk out like, yeah, that was cool. Like that was their business. You can't complain they're loud. I don't know.
Yeah, but it was on. So this will come up again, but she's on like the 4th floor when she's rescuing the cat.
Mm-hmm. Right.
She's looking out her window across the apartment building to another apartment building. When they show it, when they establish what we're looking at, it's an apartment building, and he's on the 4th floor. So he's on a parallel apartment, essentially. But inside, he's got a working bar, like you said.
Yeah.
He's got tables with, like, bar stools. He's got – and then it drops down to a second level. There's, like, an obvious well where it dips down to, like, what looks like a dance floor with giant speakers and everything. They're just not expecting you to think about it, which is another one of those, like, I'm insulted moments where it's like, why wouldn't I think about how this is a full operating bar in an apartment building across the street?
Yeah.
While we're on the topic of late night things, my wife Stacy actually pointed this out. They're doing the release party for the Bew line or whatever it's called, and they have all the delivery trucks lined up. Like if you're launching something, that shit's already in the stores in their inventory. It's just got to be brought out by the merchandiser and put on the end caps. Like,
right.
So why are they delivering the shit last minute? And because of that, she's going to sabotage all the trucks. Like these guys have nothing to do with the cosmetic company. They are contractors driving trucks.
Most likely they don't have their own distribution. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're just wasting time having them all like gather at your function.
Yeah. Just sitting out there.
Yeah. Good point. One last mention on the cat, and Bob, you touched on this too, but like, I said, the cat will be fine. Just leave it alone. Like the cat can climb up the side of a building, but you cannot. So, when you mentioned before, Bob, I was thinking like, why not a little saucer of milk or something, something to try to entice the cat. And then also maybe throw Tom Lone a quick thank you for saving my fucking life. He caught her out of the air with one arm. Yeah. Brought her in, and then she's like, I'm late for work. Yeah. It's like, what the fuck? Also thought it was funny that when she gets on the midnight deadline, she gets to the cosmetic lab to drop off the report. There's a limo driver out front. He's sitting on the limo. And he's also in charge of murdering trespassers. But not only that, he's also aware of how to flush out the water with the water pipe mechanisms. And he is privy to which pipes he can shoot without there being a major complication because he shoots like 4 different pipes. So this guy's not only the limo driver, but he knows how to operate all the equipment inside the lab as well.
Yeah. I got 2 things. I got 2 things for that. Yeah. First of all, he's called in like, I'll be right there, boss. And then seconds later, he knows exactly where she is in the building and got there.
Yeah, true.
That was amazing. And then the Bayo line release, they had that area where they were all kind of hanging out, like this semicircle arena where they're all kind of hanging out. And then that's where they fall through later. It was only like 5 minutes later. Yet the place was cleared out and the lights were off. Like, I guess the party ended like that.
Yeah, right.
It was just like, well, this is gone. Turn the lights out. Everyone leave. Like that's it was. I thought your wife was going to point that out because that's what I noticed right away. I'm like, where did everyone go?
Yeah, right. Get out. I thought that the tides were very strange for her to have him flush out of the building and then completely submerged in water, dies of drowning, and then a couple of minutes later is embedded in mud.
Yeah,
and on some level like feet above where the water is. I'm wondering how what kind of tidal wave scenario we're looking at there, where on the same night she's going to be not only drowned but pushed up onto like some muddy surface where all the cats can come and gather.
It's the cats. The cats did everything.
Yep.
Oh, okay, right, yeah, right, okay.
Super cat.
Speaking of the cat, what is that mystic cat fog that carries superpowers? Is there any way to dissect that?
I think it was on South Park, man. You huff their pee and then you go to the Nipopolis into the boobs.
Yeah, she does too. Like that seagull coming in. I almost mentioned that earlier, but the seagull and like the crab that's crawling around and the really like trippy, like hallucinogenic quality of it is kind of cheesing.
She's choosing hard.
That goes right to just the excuse that it's superhero. I think that was.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm definitely going to have some. I don't have the willpower that you do to abstain from those, so I'm definitely going to get into more. Is the Egyptian Mao the master of the Catwoman ceremonies and therefore needs multiple felines as witnesses to the occasion? Because why call in 30 cats to be there if they're not?
Yeah,
they're not transferring a power over. Why are they there?
Yeah, it's not like you're declaring a new pope. And you gotta like burn the black smoke out of the chimney or whatever.
It's like the board of director cats. It's like,
exactly.
They had to have a secretary and the treasurer and probably like,
Yeah.
Exactly. On her way back to the apartment, we see her jump up to the second floor where her apartment is, meaning that her apartment has now dropped at least 2 floors because as we noticed before, she was on like the 4th floor. I went back in the movie to double check that. She wasn't, in fact, on the 2nd floor, but I knew she couldn't be because then where's the real danger? She falls from the 2nd floor. She's going to break some bones for sure, but you're not sure she's going to die. So they raise the stakes and the apartment to the 4th floor until she has to jump to her balcony or whatever. And then it's on the 2nd.
Well, when I saw that, my first thought was, oh no, whose place is she going into?
Yeah, same here.
Then I'm like, oh, it doesn't matter.
Right, they don't care. So she wakes up on that shelf with like pillows and blankets.
Yeah.
And then she falls off of that. Ophelia pushed her to prove that she can land on her feet like a cat. Mm-hmm. However, when she falls off of the shelf, she lands on her side with a thud. Why didn't she land on her feet like a cat would? Why do those guys assume that? So I should probably have said this before, but why do those guys, the goons for the cosmetic company, assume that she died from flushing her out with water?
It probably worked in the past or something.
Ooh, oh, that's dark.
There's probably like cosmetic leaks happening all the time, and they're just icing people left and right.
Yeah,
that's right. They cut that from the script. I mean, again, boss? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, her coworkers cheer when the minute the boss is out of the room, but he definitely would be in earshot. Like the whole room celebrates the fact that she just told him off, even though she takes it back, and he's definitely still in the hallway.
Have you ever been in that situation, like where like a coworker is just like ripping into a superior?
I have been that person once. I can tell the story if you want.
I was going to tell you that. Yeah,
go ahead. I want you to tell your story.
When I worked in my payroll job for like 5 years, like one person just fucking lost it, and you just go, and then you don't talk about it ever again. You don't text them "good job," because the way that culture works is it will get back to you, and you get in trouble. And it's as great as that moment may have been for everybody. Yeah. I'm not risking my job to congratulate somebody for it either.
No chance.
Yeah.
And everyone all at once decides that it's okay to congratulate her for her good job there.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, I was going to tell real quick. I had a boss named Glenn. I worked at a grocery store. I was only like 17 at the time. Beachside Supermarket. Yeah, Rob knows. Bob, I'm sure you do not. But it was in Milford, and I was like a shelf stocker, ran the register and stuff. And this guy, I don't know if he had like a Napoleon complex or something. He was kind of a smaller fella. And he was always a dick to me. I'm 6'2", so I always kind of felt like the fact that he had to like deal with me. I was, young and tall, and I couldn't think of any other reason why he would just hate me right off the bat. Why hire me, right? But I'm doing my job. I take my break. We're allowed a half an hour. At 23 minutes, the guy is like, all right, time to get back to work. And I was like, I still have 7 and I'm eating a Hot Pocket right now. Like, give me the rest of my break. This other girl was up, cute girl, up in his office for like an hour and a half on hers. So I decide right then that I'm going to quit. So he goes back to his office, and this girl, Lindsay, is like, I'm telling her I'm going to quit. I was like, I'm just going to walk out, And she was like, well, you got to tell Glenn that you're leaving, you know? And I was like, oh, well, I guess I do. So she went over the loudspeaker for the grocery store and said, Glenn, to the front, please. So Glenn comes storming up to the front. He's just a prick. And I walked up to him and I was like, I'm not going to work here anymore. And he was like, why? And I was like, well, because of the favoritism here. I told him because it had just happened that day. I was like, 23 minutes. You told me to get back from break. Lindsay was in your office for an hour and a half. There's no way that's fair. And I felt like you've always hated me, whatever. And he was like, no, he's like, you called me up front for this. Now you pissed me off. Like I was supposed to, I don't know, cower in fear or something. But I was like,
you're already out in your head.
Yeah. I was like, all right, well, I'm going to go. You know, so I just like grabbed my 6-pack of like sodas that I had bought and I just walked out. And then the whole way home, I was just celebrating, like, you know, because I was young and I just quit my job and it didn't matter really, you know. And I kind of told the guy off. It was awesome.
It's always fun. But then after you left, they weren't like, yeah, Chris.
No,
they'd all get fucking written up or whatever.
Glenn would reprimand them for that.
Yeah.
Maybe in their head they were excited, but okay, so back to the inconsistencies. So she steals the motorcycle. Did you guys witness her hotwire it? Because she definitely didn't have the keys.
No.
Okay, so how did she make it operate? Never mind that I didn't even think about the fact that she probably wouldn't know how to ride it.
Yeah.
That was my hang up. I guess the starting was already ridiculous, so I just let it go.
Exactly. All right, so she leaves her old mask at the scene of the robbery, leaving her own DNA. She wears the stolen ring.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so she invites the guy over. She brings the lead detective over to the house to have sex with him and maybe to show him some of that nice new jewelry of hers. Essentially. I mean, he like trips over one of the diamond like claws that she forgot to put away. Don't bring him to your apartment. He's the lead detective on the robbery case. Where did she get that new sexy cat suit? She had the custom tailored, because then that person is a liability.
Yeah.
Either that or she made it herself.
It wasn't a box. It was an emergency day garment that I think she modified. I remember there was a box that said emergency date dress or emergency day.
Right. Yeah, that was the leather one that Sally got, right?
Okay, yeah.
That's the one she wore to the bank. But after the bank, she's got a nice new sexy one that's even more revealing. Also, her hair is not only cut, she cut it at her apartment, right?
Yeah.
Then she gets on the bike and she drives to wherever she's going. She takes the helmet off, and not only is it nicely cut, but it's stylized and it's dyed.
Yeah.
So she never cared about any of that before. Must have just popped up on Yahoo and searched some videos on how to like dye your hair and style it like the times, I guess. The cops are incredibly responsive. So in this version of Gotham City, a guy calls for backup at the theater because he can't believe he sees Catwoman.
Yeah.
3 minutes later, there's like 40 cops there at the theater to try to arrest her. And they know that she's up there with Mr. Hadir somehow, holding him like hostage for questions. And then she flees. Yeah. But also his wife sounds the home alarm when she's pinning it on him. And literally the cops are in her house already.
Yeah.
She sounds the alarm and they come around the corner like they were in cahoots or something.
Yeah, that was the only one. The only one I forgave was that one because her henchman was right there. Obviously, they were trying to say that he had kind of tipped them off that there was something going on anyway. So that was okay. That was the plus. I feel like she must have private security, and some of them were private security. Then the police came.
Okay, good.
That was the only one I forgave, which is generous.
Yeah, but Tom the Bone Lone was there as well. In his car.
Well, he's always on duty. He's like,
he goes where they go.
He's like rubber lamp and he appears.
Yeah.
She could have slipped through the bars at the jail whenever she wanted to.
Yeah.
All right. So I've got a couple more, but this is going to lead us to our fifth clip. Because I've got a paragraph on this one piece here. So Rob, if you will.
Yep. That's the wrap up. Here we go.
Might not be a hero, I'm certainly not a killer.
You know, once Laurel's boys start talking, we'll be able to wrap up these murder cases pretty easy.
Okay, so the reason I had Rob play that, and Bob, just so you know, we go back through and plug in these audio files again, so that the listening audience gets a better version than we just did. But the reason that I had Rob play that is because Tom Lone is saying now it's going to be easy to wrap up all the murders, right? Not going to take him long to file it away.
Yep.
Right.
So I have numerous issues here. The report must include an exoneration of the vigilante Catwoman. I don't think that that's going to be a couple of sentences. That's going to take you a book to write.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, it must include the explanation of the murders, including Mrs. Hader and her magical skin.
Yep.
That's also going to be a long file. Number 3, I mean, maybe because it's Gotham, they're used to having supervillains and superheroes. So,
yes.
Some kind of form that they have already. Number 3 has to include the Bones relationship with Catwoman, including the fact that he was there with her as the interrogator. I feel like the fact that they were banging kind of makes it a little illegal.
It's a conflict of interest.
Yes. 4, they have to out Buline for its dangerous contents. So that's going to be a whole nother investigation, number 5, into the corrupt FDA.
Mm-hmm.
How the fuck was Buline allowed on the shelves in stores nationwide? So there must be FDA corruption, because if they took one look at the formula, they would know there was something very hazardous about it. So either I don't know, they didn't think about that in the movie, or there's major corruption in the FDA and they're going to have to open an investigation into that. So not very easy to just file that away. And lastly, on this point, it must include an investigation into any and all accomplices for Mr. Hader's cover-ups, murders, and illegal business activities. So it's no big deal. We're just going to file those murders away. No problem.
Mm-hmm.
Well, two points. One, the FDA thing, I feel like they got around that by insinuating that they were falsifying documents because they killed the one doctor who was going to blow the whistle. So obviously they must have had a clean record before that guy was going to say something.
Okay.
Even if or like you said, probably corrupt, but still they kind of alluded to the fact that, it could be put off the shelves, but we're going to kill this guy before he has a chance to say anything.
Right.
Second, they got around all the Catwoman exoneration because 1, the actual person died, and 2, Catwoman disappears at the end, so who cares? That's okay. Yeah, that's how they got around that, which is so dumb. But, but that's what they did. I thought the same things.
Fair, good point. Okay, lastly, and this might have pissed me off the most. And Bob, you actually touched on this. Where did Patience learn kung fu? And how did she learn it so quickly? Like in a day or so, she's gone from a designer to a master at karate.
That's right, because cat skills really are broader than you might realize.
Clearly.
The things your cats do when you're not home, you would really be surprised. You should set up some cameras or something.
Yeah, right. They know how to use the internet better than she
does. Right. Hot wiring a motorcycle just to start.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, cool. Rob, you want to do your movie review? We're going to keep Bob along for the credits and movie comparison, and then we'll say goodbye before we plug all our stuff. Yeah. And we'll give you an opportunity to plug yours, Bob.
All right. If you want to watch another 2-hour origin story, then this is the movie for you. This review isn't a shot at Catwoman, but rather every single Marvel DC property. We know Spider-Man was bit by a spider, and we know Batman's parents were murdered in front of him. And guess what? Now we know that Catwoman was a graphic designer and that cosmetic companies are actually far-reaching evil empires looking to destroy civilization as we know it. The lone detective's last name was Lone. Patience twerks on a basketball court in front of a bunch of children. She just found out that she has cat powers and now she fucking balls. Who is this movie for? How did this get funded? Hello, Chris. I'm Rob. How are you? And why are we doing this?
Well said, sir.
Yeah. Good job.
All right. So this next segment I just point out all the bad credit names that I noticed. So these are just names that I wouldn't want to have. And they go in ascending order. So the first is usually not very funny, but the last, I hope at least, makes you guys giggle. Bob, did you want to mention your credit stuff before I get into them? Or
I have very few, so I'll wait and see if you say them.
Okay. So you have names as well?
I have two names. One is kind of cool. The other one is kind of funny.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see if I say them. And if so, I'm sorry if I steal your thunder.
No thunder.
Okay. So number one, I just noticed that there are characters named Sandy and Randy. Sandy is played by Ona Grauer, I'm guessing is how you would pronounce it. But Randy is played by Landy. Landy Cannon is the person's name. So why not just name the character Landy?
Yeah.
Number two, I thought this was exactly what you just don't hire this person on the crew for the movie Catwoman. It's Kit Mallet. So smash a cat, basically. It's the smash number three, Shepard Frankel. Just kind of thought that was Shepard Frankel. Kind of
got a nice ring to it.
Damar Midcap. Another not super funny, just interesting.
I wrote that one down. I love that name.
Damar Midcap. Yeah.
I thought it was Dagmar, but maybe it's Damar. I don't know.
Oh, no, you're probably right. I bet you it is Dagmar.
It's good. It's good both ways.
Like Norwegian, maybe, or something. Yeah. Number five, Benita Ha. Yep. Thought that was cool. Number six, J.R. Grubbs. Definitely makes barbecue sauce. Yeah, there's no way that guy doesn't make his own barbecue sauce. Number seven, Mike Cox.
Nice.
I just feel like, Cox is a relatively popular last name. Happens a lot. Yeah. But if you hadn't heard, kids, I'm sure since the 1800s have been making the Mike, my crotch, my cock, my, if your name is Mike, it implies my whatever starts with the C sound.
Oh yeah, Michael Hunt was what I used to put on like forms and shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Fun.
Good example. Number eight, Ann Gooby. That is the type of harness that I put on my dog, the Gooby. Number nine, David Tickle. I really hope he's not a pedophile because he's set up bad. That's number 10, and this is when Alfred is in action with Batman. And I don't know if you guys saw these later issues, but he appears as Silver Butler is the guy's name. It's kind of crazy. And I've got two more.
Okay.
Rob, I think you're going to like this one.
All right.
Brian Poon.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I saw that one.
The eighth grader in me is so happy right now.
I couldn't help it. I had to write it down. And on the subject of Poon, my number 12 and my best one, this is it. Yeah. Maureen Poon Fear.
That's good.
I swear to God.
That makes me happy.
Written that way, and it was not hyphenated either. It's not like her last name used to be Fear and now it's Poon Fear. I don't know how you get a name like that. Maureen Poon Fear.
Yeah.
All right, Bob, you got anything?
This is one I wasn't going to mention, but I thought it was cool. They had a whip coach. Thought that was cool. But one of the first assistant camera people's name was Cam. I thought that was amazing.
Hey,
nice.
His name was Cam North.
Meant to be.
Yeah. And so there's two things. One, I don't know if you noticed, there were about 8 different CGI companies involved in making this. Like they just kept listing. They had like a CGI company, and then like the head CGI producers and the animators, and they had another company, and then the producers and the animators. It must have been 6 to 8 of them. But that was
makes sense now. It's all starting to make sense.
In terms of numbers, I mentioned this to Chris earlier. There were 102 stunt people. I counted.
Right.
There were 51 rows of 2. And then there were 38 cast members. And that includes like the lowest cast member. So I don't know if they all were used in the basketball scene or if that just is how all movies are. 102 stunt people to 38 cast members. It didn't make any sense to me.
That's insane. That is like, I did want to look into that. I'm going to be checking for that later.
Yeah.
Because that seems like an insane ratio of
like I got a buddy who's obsessed with Marvel and all those movies who you assume would have a lot of stunts, and he cracked up. He thought that was hilarious. So obviously it's not that typical.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't imagine. You'd think a few, like one per actor maybe or something like that.
Even 2 per actor.
I think they had probably 6 to 8 in that basketball scene. As Rob mentioned, there was a couple of guys playing basketball in Halle Berry's outfit. And
Yeah.
so, all right, cool. So you want to wrap it up by doing the movie comparison?
Yeah.
So I have Battlefield Earth's results because that is our current worst movie of season 2. We will later compare that to our worst of season 1, 3, and 4 in like a round robin March Madness style tournament that we're going to do. Super fun episode coming, much later. But let's start with -40 on the Keystone apparatus for Battlefield Earth. That seems like unbeatable. That's gonna.
Yeah. No.
This is the reason we have seasons. Really,
it got a 3, right?
Wait.
It's not important. It got a 3 for like its Rotten Tomatoes score, right? Something like that.
I think. Yeah, I think it got I think you're right. I think it was a 43 average.
Okay.
I didn't jot that down. I think you're right though. I think it was a 43 average, and Battlefield Earth's got a 3%. Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. So yeah, as I was saying that we have seasons because a movie like this might just carry. We don't want the worst movie ever made literally to just carry every episode and be our comparison for every single episode. So we're breaking it into seasons so that we can have the worst movie of season 1 kind of wipe out the rest. And then that'll make it for interesting battles later on.
It's a good idea.
But thank you. Catwoman also was prey at -24%. So that's a good score. So I'm going to be looking at these scores with that round robin tournament and maybe assigning all these movies different seeds.
Yeah.
And then we're going to talk about why one movie might be worse than the other. And a 3 to 6 seed matchup. Maybe the 6 will actually beat the 3 because Rob and I fucking hate the movie or something, So the plot pitch. Battlefield Earth got an 81. I may have intentionally rambled on a little bit. I actually stopped in the middle of that plot pitch to let Rob answer something because I knew he wouldn't be expecting it, and I wanted it to add like 6 seconds before he realized he had to say something. Yeah. So an 81 and a 2-star, also a very bad, good score, depends on how you look at it. A 37 for the plot pitch and a 3 star for Catwoman. I guess Rob just liked the pile of shit comparison. Yeah. 25 bad lines of dialogue that were totally indefensible on Battlefield Earth. 15 for Catwoman. Good score again. And hey, it's a wash on the emotometer. Halle Berry did as bad as John Travolta did in Battlefield Earth. How about that?
All right.
Poor taste detector, 11 for Catwoman. Another strong score, but Battlefield Earth, a 15. Right. And then tropes, there were 22 in Battlefield Earth and just 16. Only 16 for Catwoman. And then they both had a recall for CGI. So watch there, giving us a 5-0 victory for Battlefield Earth.
Battlefield Earth. All right.
Again, here's why we have seasons. And the full-on Ask You champion is Turl.
Okay.
And Bob, I want to plug your Instagram page again when you think in movie scenes, correct?
Yeah, it's think in movie scenes with underscores separating each word. Basically, I have been watching movies for 45 years. Well, I've been alive for 45 years. Feels like it's been watching movies the whole time. And I literally see things everywhere I am. Like today, this is the post I made just like before you guys were recording. There's a gas station that is major construction going on right now. Like you can't even see the gas station, but there's a sign that says we're still open if you need to come in and get a coffee. And I thought that's Clerks. If you ever saw Clerks, I'm like, that's perfect. So I just posted that.
We assure you, we are
my favorite. Exactly. Yeah. Bunch of savages in this town. That's the line I always remember.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's exactly what I do. It's a labor of love. I have no benefit from it. I don't make any money. I don't hope to make any money. I just absolutely love movies. So that's why I do it.
Well, I check out your page pretty much every day because those are really fun. And if I think of any, I will send them over. Rob, you should do the same.
Yeah, Chris sent me a picture of a folding chair and said, "What movie is this?" And it was a close-up of a folding chair. I'm like, "Thank you," but I got one. So
yeah, it was really good. It was really good. You should check it out. We won't spoil it.
I have one, but it's not a still. It's a video, and I was I was thinking about it. It's, you know, I don't eat fast food a lot, but every once in a while you just crave like McDonald's or something, and you wait in the long line. They don't have the one thing that you want.
Oh,
and I was thinking John Cusack in High Fidelity when his ex-girlfriend's new boyfriend tells him up, and he's just standing there blankly, like fantasizing all the ways they beat the shit out of him. Like for some reason, just standing like, okay.
I thought you were going to say falling down when Michael Douglas is trying to order breakfast. At
that's good. Actually, we did that as a pilot episode, believe it or not.
The ham and cheese whamwich, yeah,
right, yeah. All right, guys. Well, Bob, I guess we'll say goodbye now because all we're gonna do is plug our stuff and talk about what we're watching next week. Let me tell you, just so you know, we're doing Ernest Goes to School, right, Rob? This is Rob's idea. Don't blame me for this one.
So I watched all the Ernest Goes movies like a month and a half ago I don't know. I'm watching nothing but bad movies here, and I was like,
this dude is watching nothing but bad movies.
So I'm going to watch movies. I'm going to watch movies that are lower than that to see if that like makes these movies a little better. So,
I mean, that was intentionally bad though. So maybe I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. Ernest Goes to Camp was the first. It came out when I was in 6th grade because they had a movie night because we were too young to go to dances, and they had us come to the school to watch a movie. That was the one.
Oh god,
that was the first and only time I watched it.
Yeah.
Well, I have not seen any Ernest anything, but I hate the way the guy looks, so I don't even want to watch him.
Oh, wait till you hear how he talks.
Oh my god, I don't want to.
Well, you've seen Toy Story, right? He's the Slinky Dog voice.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, Jim Varney. He's the late Jim Varney.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, that makes me not want to watch it even more.
Nice.
All right. Well, hey, thanks, Bob. And your material was great. We'll definitely have you on again. It was a lot of fun. Man.
Hey, thanks, you guys. Good to meet you.
See you, man.
Yeah, you too. All right, Rob, you want to plug our stuff?
Yeah. Okay. So we are the Bomb Filter Podcast. You can contact us at bombfilterpod@gmail.com. You can hear us on Spotify, Anchor FM, Pocket Cast, Google Play, iTunes, and every other major podcast platform. If you are on iTunes, please feel inclined to leave us a 5-star review.
Yes.
If you have praise for the podcast, give us 5 stars. If you don't like the podcast, also give us 5 stars, or no one's going to be able to read your comment. So, either way, just give us 5 stars, and you can say whatever you want in the comments.
Yes, I like that.
And then we're on social media. We're on Instagram, the Bomb Filter Podcast, and I believe Chris is on Facebook now too. Or
well, I've been interacting a lot with like movie communities on Facebook in an effort to draw some attention to it. I don't know. Maybe I should. You and I should have an off air about it because you being the tech guy, have been doing some Instagram wizardry that I don't even understand yet.
Okay.
I've been basically plugging away, getting us as much attention as I can on there. So definitely check out our Instagram. We do have a Twitter. We do have a TikTok. That's another one I'm trying to figure out. So yeah, basically on every social media platform,
cool.
At least the ones that matter. So check us out all over the place because we're everywhere now.
Nice. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. This has been the Bomb Filter.
Thanks, guys.